Good afternoon. I was asked today by the principal to do a representation of a Think Aloud and the Frayer model, which is posted up here. As I do in my classroom, Think Aloud is where the students or a teacher verbally discusses what he or she is doing, their thought process. So I'm going to be doing a Think Aloud as I complete this Frayer model, which is used to help students define words. Like in this case, we're doing vocabulary, and the vocabulary word is going to be a consonant cluster. The Frayer model is broken down into 4 parts, which is the definition of the actual word, examples of the word, non-examples of the word, and then characteristics of the specific word that you've chosen. So as I model this today, I'm going to be going back and forth as myself as the teacher and also as a 2nd grade student defining the consonant cluster. So I'm going to now transform into a 2nd grader. So if I'm a 2nd grader, I'm thinking, I have to define the consonant cluster. So I'm going to go back and think that last week we learned about consonant digraphs and how those are sh, ch, and th, and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and say that that's probably not a consonant cluster. So I'm just going to write digraphs as a non-example. To think of more non-examples, I can go ahead and say that vowels is not going to be a consonant cluster because consonant cluster is going to have to be a consonant letter. So non-examples, I'll put vowels. And then as a characteristic then, since I just said it, I will go ahead and say that a consonant is going to be a set characteristic for the specific consonant cluster. Okay, I'm going to pause there and I'm going to go back to the teacher. So as you can see, the student is verbalizing what he or she is saying, their thought process as they're going. That's the specific Think Aloud. In the Frayer model, they didn't start with the definition. They start with non-examples. Technically, you can start wherever with the Frayer model. For some students, it's easier to start with non-examples. So what it is not. Other students, it's easier to think of examples. And then it all leads to the actual definition of the consonant cluster. So I'm going to go back to being the 2nd grade student. Okay, so I'm thinking, I know that vowels are not consonant clusters. I'm going to go ahead and think of the word black. So if I write black as an example, the consonant cluster, I'm going to think, where's the consonant? So BL and then CK, bl. So it's like the 2 consonants together. So I'm going to go ahead and circle that. And then the CK is only one sound, so it's not really a cluster of consonants. So I'm going to say that that's not one. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the non-example, or I'm going to put in the characteristics that it has to be at least 2 vowels, or at least 2 consonants. And then, but I'm going to think of what if I have the word, I'm thinking of a word like spray, that has 3 consonants in the beginning. I think that's a cluster because it's a sp-er. So I'm going to go ahead and circle that. So at least 2 characteristics. So I'm going to write or more for the consonants. So at least 2 or more consonants. Let's see. So go back into the CK. Since that's only one sound, has to have like individual sounds. So I'll write that, individual sounds. So more examples could be clown, and the CL would be one. Like a digraph, so the chair, the ch would not be one. My paper is falling. Okay, so going back as the teacher, you can see how the student is thinking through all of this thought process. He almost has enough, he or she almost has enough to define the actual consonant cluster. They're doing great at thinking aloud using the different verbalizations. So now if he or she was to define the definition, let's go back to the student. So I'm thinking I have enough to answer or define what a consonant cluster is. So if I think with my example as a consonant cluster is 2 or more Consonant sounds put together. Maybe not put together because it's not like they're one word. Maybe blended together. So 2 or more consonant, 2 or more consonants blended together, and they sound each individual sound. So they're not a digraph and not a vowel. Let's do a consonant cluster. Is 2 or more, what did I say? 2 or more consonant, 2 or more consonant sounds blended together. So I don't want to say put together, but blended together. So 2 or more consonant sounds blended together to create a full consonant blend again. Okay, so now as the teacher, you have seen that the 2nd grade student completed the Frayer model successfully. They may be a little bit different than the actual definition, or they may have their own thoughts on it, but as long as they can define consonant cluster to the overall definition, then they succeeded in completing the Frayer model. In their Think Aloud, you heard their thought process as they were verbalizing it during the instruction. So if you have any more questions, you can ask me, but that's my model of a Think Aloud done by a student, and then the Frayer model completed by the student. Think Alouds can also be done by teachers as they're modeling what they want the students to do. It's also very helpful. So thank you and have a great day.